Hello guys and welcome on the show. I am today with the one and only Marco Consina, aka Swiss West Gang. Marco, you are more than welcome on the show. It's a real pleasure for us to have you on the channel. How are you, by the way?
Thank you both for thinking of me. I appreciate the invite. I'm good. I just came from the gym, so I'm a bit pumped, and ready for this interview. Just got a fresh haircut for you as well, so nice
Thanks
and clean.
Thanks a million for that. Really appreciate. The first question, the first part of the interview will be more about yourself, and the second one will be more about what you're doing, and at the end, it will be more about your experience. So for the people who are watching. Okay. So the first question will be, where do you come from, where do you live, and what you do for a living?
So I originally come from Slovenia, a very small, I would say it's a city for us, but let's say for Americans, it's a little village probably, 25,000 people. I was born and raised there, and I moved to Switzerland, to Zurich, at the age of 20 years old, exact, actually. That was the idea. So originally Slovenian, and I love Zurich, man, because I came 2011 here, so it's gonna be now 13 years this year, October.
Okay.
And I just love to live here and to build my companies. That's it.
And what you do for a living?
So for a living, currently we essentially help watch companies reach more clients. That's how I would describe it the shortest way. But through my agency and also through my Swiss Watch Gang platform, we offer a variety of services, from brand building to just interviews with cool new watchmakers for the collector audience to see and explore. Plus, I love to focus on really making high-end content when it comes to photos and videos. So if you have a watchmaker who is not really present online, if I show him, my goal is to have the nicest footage of this watch online, So collectors and also just enthusiasts like me, 10 years ago can really enjoy those types of videos. Basically, I'm doing videos that I wished I would have watched 10 years ago, kind of.
That's perfect. And thank you very much for what you are doing, because I know that so many people deep dive into their passion through your work. So thanks a lot for that.
Thank you.
I have another question for you. Does your mother or your grandmother really understand what you are doing for a living?
Listen, parents and grandparents are always, they have the same concern always for their kids and grandkids. They don't want you to stress out, and they want you to be happy. So my grandmother understands, because my uncle actually shows her my YouTube videos, so she's subscribed. But it's like they don't grasp the importance or even like the whole life, because today I'm in Geneva, tomorrow Singapore, next week we're a week in Dubai, and she's never been outside of Slovenia essentially. So it's like, what do you mean you're in where even is Dubai, And also these watches, if I bring home even a $50,000 watch, she would be like, okay, cool, are you hungry, So for my grandma, it doesn't matter really, She just wants me to be healthy and happy, that's it, and to find a wife and get kids, That's more of her priority for me. My mother does understand more, because she's obviously younger, and she, they went through this whole journey with me, again, coming to Switzerland, being a bartender for 5 years, and then slowly building my portfolio and social media company, and then YouTube. They've been with me along the whole, road, basically. So they've seen me buying a $1,000 watch, and me buying my latest thing, which was the Lepe Spider, Arachnophobia. So do they get it? Sometimes yes, sometimes no. But we share the same journey together, So it's always, but it blows their mind, of course, because the ratio is very different, Slovenia and Switzerland, in terms of money and everything. So yeah,
exactly. But if they follow you in your passion and through your path, and you take the time to really explain to them what you are doing, that's a bad thing, because as you mentioned it's more about are you happy in life, are you angry, and do you need something that's
and are you healthy, in good shape,
Yeah, but we can see
No, I'm working on it. It's a work in progress.
And as you mentioned it, you are not born in Switzerland, but you do live there in Zurich. What's your view on this country? Because as you mentioned it, you arrived in Switzerland like 15 years ago. So what's your view on that country?
I think Switzerland is its own bubble, meaning that, so I come from Slovenia, so I have a perspective of living in two countries, paying stuff, buying stuff, salaries. So for me, Switzerland is a very cheap country. If you compare, let's say, the amount of money you earn, even as a normal person, because people, of course, usually say it's very expensive here, but I say, like, listen, if you look at the percentages of how much you earn and how much you spend, I mean, some stuff like milk and bread and flour is same price as in Slovenia, where the salary is like 4 times lower. So, nowadays, and not even talking about watches and clothing, it's the same price. So I think Switzerland is very good because it's like very secure. So I would love to raise my family here. Anything which happens politically around the world, it almost doesn't affect us, to be honest. But recession is not really a big thing here. People say it is because they have outside, clients and customers worldwide. But locally, it's like not a big deal, even if you look at the economic charts. And I think it's for me, it's like a promised land, like people speak about America, you can go there, you can make a living. But for me, I think coming from like a different country, having this entrepreneurial perspective, I think you can have a quicker upper hand here because so many people are used to the school system here. So they don't have to really build a company if you don't need to, because if you finish your university, you have like a 7-8K a month, and like why build a company? It's like you have a comfy life even with just school basically, and not talking about 10-15 years of experience in your workforce. So I love it here, really. It's great to travel also with all the seasons. Watches are obviously here, so I mean, for me, that's why I chose it.
Exactly. So it really makes sense. And thank you for all those information. Let's talk about more about your job and what you are doing for living. You just gave us a hint of what you are doing. Can you tell us a bit more about your activities? Because what we see, it's your YouTube channel, and but it's the only part of the iceberg that we are used to see. Can you explain us a bit more what you are doing?
Yeah, I would say that YouTube is the smallest. It's like you say, like the tip of the iceberg, because like YouTube is once a week, which is again not so much work if I compare it to anything else we do. So a typical week would be anything from meeting with retailers to talk about how we can collaborate with them, either with YouTube or as an agency if they need content. So we have a lot of calls, Zoom calls. We go to them also in person to visit them. We talk about, sometimes a client needs a new logo design also outside of the watch industry. Usually we work with like a product video creation, product photo creation for watch brands. So it's a bunch of planning, pitching, meetings, and like you said, like the YouTube stuff is the smallest part actually, Like we create a lot of content weekly for brands. We have like monthly packages with a lot of them, and also social media management for still a few customers from my past. So it's very, very diverse, and like we pushed a bit as well. Like there's the casual accounting meeting you have for the company, which is always fun. So it's a lot of hats on one person. I would say it like this, from A to Z.
And which part do you enjoy the most?
I enjoy the most when I basically meet either new watch brands, new like independent watchmakers, when I actually see the watches in person finally. And also sometimes if we have enough time and I can enjoy the process, like filming the watches, because imagine like you have in the background the Julian Tixier watch when I was filming this watch, I couldn't believe what I'm seeing because there's so many details, you know, like you could spend one day just filming this watch. So for me, talking to customers, talking about big ideas, you know, how we could create something cool together, how I could grow your company. That's for me the most fun part, you know. More and more, the older I get, and the more, the longer my company is alive, so to speak, because I've been now doing it for 7 years. The more I'm looking at these like more big picture projects, you know, the day-to-day tasks are more and more boring, let's say. But if we talk about, hey, here is this retailer, how can we make him the best online? I have so many ideas, and then the conversation really starts going and collaborating like with you and people like this as well, you know, because I think it's a very family-oriented industry. So we need to collaborate more, essentially. I wish I would have more YouTubers in Switzerland to collaborate with, basically.
We are trying our best. We are still little, but maybe doing one step at a time.
Let's go.
So what is really interesting? So on what you prefer the most in your job is the creative part added to the personal connection that you have with the people. How do you nourish the creativity, and also how do you nourish that personal connection that you have to maintain with the people from the industry?
I mean, the personal connection is really, it comes automatically, you know, organically, so to speak. Like one day I was exhausted, and my cousin was talking to me, and I was, just for fun, I checked like how many people I spoke to, you know, either Instagram, WhatsApp. I think it was like 40 different people. So I'm like, okay, today you had a conversation about stuff with 40 people. But sometimes it's organic, you know. I see a friend posting a story, I comment, we have a little conversation, maybe like 2-3 minutes, and then we go again on, you know, about our day. You have obviously the people you talk to all the time, and plus you see people at all these watch events, you know. So we go to Dubai, to Singapore, to Geneva, to Basel, to like everywhere basically where the brands are and the collectors are as well. So anytime you see them like in different occasions, it's always a connecting point, you know. So that for me is that's how you nourish it, basically, very automatically. What was the second question?
About the creativity, because it's you are pitching big project to clients. I mean, but if on a daily basis you are only seeing watches, sometimes you can repeat yourself. And how do you find, like, how do you keep an open window to something that can happen elsewhere and that can bring you new ideas that you could pitch?
Yeah. So in my free time, I actually watch almost no watch content because I'm like, you know, I have so much about it in my life. So nowadays, I've been watching a lot of car YouTubers and a lot of climbing YouTubers, like people who climb in the bouldering. So I look at the YouTube landscape across the whole board. So I usually know the biggest YouTube creators, you know, and I get inspired by some ideas. I have a few ideas for this year for my channel, actually, which will be a bit unusual for the watch YouTube scene. But in the YouTube, let's say, playground, it's going to be a very normal type of video to make, you know. Usually I get inspiration and creativity from also other YouTube channels.
Okay, so now you have to tease a bit more about those projects. Can you?
So let's say I want to do a certain type of interviews with people.
Okay.
And I want to do type of videos like sometimes Mr. Beast makes.
Okay.
Not like giving away $1 million, obviously. We're not there yet. But again, just really spending more money on videos, basically, and going all in, you know? Like spending the money and the team to go somewhere, make a sick video. And that's it. Just have fun, you know? Because I think it became a bit stale, the platform. You know, I'm sometimes not inclined to do like a lot of reviews because it's like a single watch you focus on. So I want to be a bit more. I want to test more. You know what I mean? Like just, hey, this is the idea. Sounds crazy. Find a watchmaker. Let's go. You know, just simple, basically. Yeah. In theory,
simple. Let's see. Yeah, in theory, that's simple. But okay,
I have a great team behind me, so you know, it helps.
That's the power of having a great team. You can go very far. Let's go back and let's continue to speak more about your job. I know that you are close to the Chrono Suisse team, and you've done some job for them. Can you take a project that you've done, you and your team, for Chrono Suisse, and explain us each step that you have to go through to create the project? So to really help the people who are not part of that world and say, okay, how a video is made or how whatever.
Yeah, sure. I mean, Chrono Suisse was one of my first clients when it comes to social media management. So before COVID, the 3 years before COVID, I was managing the Chrono Suisse social media account physically. So I went to the factory to Lucerne. I took the photos of the watches. I posted it, and you know that was like a monthly package, yearly package, basically. And then with my team at Effect Agency, we basically, and my partners, we created the product videos. So basically, the process is very easy, you know. Like once you have the contact, right? They say, okay, in June we're gonna launch a new watch. We want to do a product video like you did for this company, or we show them like samples, or they show us, hey, we love this video, you know, and we tell them, hey, this video that you like is going to cost you, I don't know, 15, 20, 30,000. And they might say, okay, we want to spend 8. And you say, okay, for 8, we can give you something like this, you know, and then they say also, we also need like product photos. We say, okay, those cost additionally X. So we make like a launch campaign, basically like a package. Usually nowadays we focus more on those, which consists of like a product video, let's say 45 seconds max, depends on the watch, you know, and the idea. On a black background, again, if the budgets are a bit more slim. Front back shot, maybe some social media photos. So when the watch launches, the company has, let's say, a grid of 12 to 15 photos and content pieces to post. And also their YouTube, like influencers, their media partners can use it, you know. But with Chrono Suisse, we work with them still. The last thing we did for them was we shot a movement, which I don't think is published yet because I have the movement still here in the safe. It was for the skeleton. We've done the last black hole product video for them. We used a very special way of filming it. If you look at that video, it was complex and sticky. Then we did the Jupiter product video for them, of the Jupiter watch, which was fun because that we recreated like a surface of Jupiter, which is not possible obviously, but the colors, you know. So we used flour and like paprika and different spices to make like the surface, which was again fun, you know.
You will not have to sneeze near the platform.
No way, because no, just disappear. And then it's all over the watch. So when we film product videos, there's one person just cleaning and like dusting off the watches, you know, because it gets dust falls on it, you know, which you don't see, but the camera, you know, captures it, and then in post-production it's not fun.
So you would say that in your working process there is two things. The first one is you pitch a concept to a client, or the client goes to you saying, okay, Mariko, we'd love to do that. And from when the project is validated, there is one part who is the production part, and after that you have to deliver the product. During the production part, what are the elements that if some people who are listening to us or watching the video say, which advice would you give to them saying, okay, if you want to create something different that you are used to see in the watch industry, just pay attention to those details?
Difficult, because usually a lot of work that we do for clients, which we have already, let's say, is sometimes repetitive, meaning black background and a watch. So in those cases, the stupid rule of 10-10 applies. I'm saying stupid because sometimes while you're filming it, you forget about it. So we always make sure it's always set at the same time. Really clean the watches, because afterwards it's just a nightmare. And try to pitch something to the client which basically can be more creative. But again, to give you perspective, we are like 6 people here and 250 square meters of space in Zurich. So the way we approach projects is different than somebody who is maybe like a 1 or 2 person team, because they can spend more time on something more creative because it's a reference video for them. We don't need those anymore almost. So what type of video create is really dependable on the client and the budget, basically, because you also don't want to make a video which is super creative for a low price, because then the client gets used to it, right?
Yeah.
And it's always hard to then go up. And once you have a team and people, you can't go below a certain price, because again, you're losing money on the people alone. So yeah, difficult, man. Like I would say, find clients which pay your like survival first, if you're at the beginning.
Yeah.
And maybe get a few like creative ones on the side for lower money maybe, but deliver like a sick stuff. Because maybe if you're very creative, then the big agencies or the big companies might see it. And for the new client, you can then pitch a bigger, budget, and tell your client which paid a little amount to say he paid more,
Yeah.
That's it. It's good for both anyway,
Yeah, exactly. You are able to give that kind of advice due to your experience, and we will now speak about.
Basically,
we will speak more about your experience of what you've been able to live due to your work. Do you have an anecdote to share about someone who really helped you in life, and which advice will you never forget?
So I think the advice that my uncle gave me, who is a big role model in my life, we all heard it at some point. It's like, think about what you love to do, and if you had all the money in the world, what would you do? How would you spend your time? And my answer was basically, watches. It was not YouTube. It was not making videos. It was just, I love watches, whatever that means. Do I sell them? Do I look at them? Do I film them? Do I photo them? I think, and also putting in the work, man, because when I think back, like how many jobs I applied to on the Bahnhofstrasse here in Zurich with all those retailers to work for, now they're my clients. So if you do good work, and if you really find something that people need in the market, or not even need, just start creating stuff, and you'll find your path along the way. Because again, my idea was not to open up a big production agency. It's kind of happened on the way. My first job was running a social media account, and then people loved the photos and asked, "Hey, can you also make photos for us?" I'm like, "Yeah, well." Paid nothing, you love watches, so it helps to work in something you love, I think.
Okay,
for sure, but it's work.
Yeah, it's still work at the end. And what is your best encounter in the watch industry?
Best encounter, I mean, the funniest was maybe me, my first Baselworld with my parents. That was in 2000. So my parents came to visit us here in Zurich, and we basically went to Basel. And bro, I was, I had a suit on. I was 30 kilos slimmer. And then I saw Jean-Claude Biver going to I was at the toilet basically, like peeing. And then Jean-Claude Biver came next to me. I started sweating, Imagine that was 2014, 15. So that was like, he was at the peak, like he was the godfather. He walked around, it looked like, every flowers are, blooming. Like it was insane. That's how I saw him, and then I waited for him outside, and I'm like, hey, sorry, this was a bit awkward, but, can I have a picture with you? And I still have that picture with me and him on my Facebook, actually. And now it's fun because we worked, we talked with Pierre, we did a video together with Pierre Biver. So it's cool to have this like 360 moments. Or next week, I'm going to Vostep, the school in Neuchâtel, which was basically the reason why I even went to Switzerland. And I have the email and I have the photo of me 13 years ago at the school, like this. Again, so I can't wait to close these circles, And who knows, maybe this is going to be the next collaboration, me and Vostep. I mean, sign me up. I would love to.
We'll see. So, yeah. You have to keep up posted about it.
Yeah, no, for sure. You'll see it. I'll make a story.
And do you have an anecdote that has marked your career so far?
My career, like, let's say, again, just the whole...
You spoke about your uncle and the advice he gave you. You spoke about Jean-Claude Biver, that encounter that really mattered for you. But I'm sure when you look back at what you've done, now you have your own agency in Zurich doing those crazy films for those very luxurious brand or retailer. So you've done something with your life. You are not useless to the industry. Yeah. And do you have something that has really marked your career? Say, okay, after that moment, my career knew like a turn, saying, okay, I lived that, and there is like before and now, it's completely different. I know where I have to go and what I have to improve.
So I think for me as a content creator, as Swiss Watch Gang, YouTube gave me like a second life, I would say. So Instagram became a bit boring at the time. So I basically said, okay, I need to do something cool. And now I had the team in place. So I'm like, okay, YouTube is something I always loved. So going, I think, all in on YouTube was the best decision for me. It also grew all the companies basically because obviously more exposure. But it was really 2015, man, like winter of 2015. I basically decided next year I'm going to work with watches. Whatever that means, because I was at all the events. I went to see some watchmakers before. I bought my Canon camera. I registered for Baselworld for March and went to Baselworld, So I think really deciding and setting goals is super important, as cliche as it sounds, because for the first year I set myself a goal when I was independent to hit a certain revenue number, and I missed it only by 8%. So, and that was 3 times more than I made as a waiter, So essentially, if I would not have this goal, I would be a bit lost. Also for YouTube, the goal was 100,000 subscribers. Now that this is hit, you can see there's a plaque in the back there. I need to set a new goal, and I have it, So there is a bit of a progression, But again, like I said, if you love what you do, you don't give up so easily, And just try to be modest. Don't let money come to in your head, Be nice to people. Collaborate, bring value. That's it, man. and don't think it's going to be quick, you know. Like most entrepreneurs who make a lot of money are like what, above 40, 45, 50, like when they make like the real money, you know. And with social media today, we get blinded by it's so easy to make money, and so all of these like Twitch streamers are young and 20, and but the majority is not like this, you know. So compare yourself to you. That's the best
Yeah.
advice, I think, you know. Are you
You have
progressing?
just
Yes. Okay.
you have
You
just
know,
to compete with yourself, not with the
basically,
others.
yeah. I mean, it's still good to get inspired by somebody else, but I can't compare myself to you or you to me because we have different backgrounds. I don't know what you do when we turn off this camera. Maybe you go work like crazy, and nobody sees that, you know. Like when you come home,
Mark,
nobody sees the emails you write, the ideas you have,
yeah,
the struggles as well. It's not easy, huh?
exactly.
Everybody thinks it's, oh, I bought a new watch, sick, you know, must be nice. Like, yeah, this watch cost me 10 kilos of weight and no girlfriend. So cheers.
Mark, I would like to thank you for your time and all those
Thank you, bro.
stories and explanation you gave to us, to the audience. And I can just encourage people to follow you and follow your work. I'm more
Thanks, bro.
than happy to have you here. The door is open, and
My pleasure.
I'm very. I want to see what you are working on with your new format on YouTube,
Yeah.
and so it has been a pleasure.
Thank you, bro. Appreciate you having me. And I wish you all the best as well. And just keep doing this.
Thank you very much.